Hi, I'm Francois from Production Music Live, and we're taking a look at this main lead sound of Anyma Eternity. Playing slightly different MIDI here. We're playing... So this is what we're playing. And so you can already notice there's some pitching going on here. Some of the key elements for this type of sound in this modern melodic techno style are pitching, detuning, chorus effects, flangers effect, and phasing, but very precisely applied and very, surgical and clean somehow. This is obviously here a different composition, different chord progressions, only built in Ableton with Ableton stock effects and instruments plus Serum. And some automation obviously here. So I'm quickly turning off all the Ableton processing elements here behind Serum, and now we can take a look at the raw sound in Serum. Bit less high frequencies in the sound now. And how's it put together? We have a saw wave here and 7 voices of it. LFO1 here, this one moving up and down over 2 bars, and it's sort of automating the detuning position of oscillator A, so increasing the detuning. More detuned over time. And then we have a bunch of effects behind it. Quickly turn them off here and then bring them back in to see what we are doing. Very important information, by the way. I have this pitch band here and it's set to 3 semitones up and down. And what we are doing over time here, which is super important, is we are bringing the pitch band up 3 semitones and then slightly bringing it down -3 semitones and back up. So this is what we are controlling here. And automated over time. You can also set the range here, but we have set it to 3 semitones in this case. And filter cutoff is applied here, and we are bringing this up and down with the 24 decibels per octave filter. Drive is pretty high up at 2 o'clock, fat set to 3 o'clock, and mix all the way up. So this one is heavily applied. And you can see the shape here. It's open in the beginning, quickly closing down. And that's how we get this sound. Let's go back to the effects here, slightly adding in distortion. Then an EQ with a high shelf up, and then we have this bell curve that slightly gets pushed into the high shelf. Basically adding some high frequency information into the sound. Now, a more important element here, chorus. And this is one of those very characteristic elements in this type of sound design. If I exaggerate it, doesn't that AI puppet already show up in your mind when you see that? Or more like mannequin. Slightly applying this chorus, but you could also open that up towards the drop or something, make it more interesting that way. And then we have this other filter here where we are using a Flanger plus setup and mixing that in as well. So also some flanging. To taste. I mean, you can add it in more or less. There's a slight ping pong delay here. Ever so slightly applied, and then a reverb on top of that. Also ever so slightly applied. We hear a lot more reverb actually, but this is coming through the send effects to whole lead here, for example. So long reverb tail. like this shimmer plate. We are rolling off low end and then we are sending 11.6 seconds of shimmer. Again, rolling off low end and high end here, pushing it up a bit more in terms of saturation and then sidechaining the whole thing. By the way, before that, we compress the signal to make sure we have more like this evened out reverb tail. So this is one of the send effects it goes through, but it also goes through the second one, which is this one. There's a shorter one, shorter decay time on this one, but more interesting roominess for the mix at the end of the day. But let's focus a bit more on the main sound here, because it's more a mixing element. We then take this sound and we run it into this overdrive, and this really pops it out in the mix, you know, bringing out those high frequencies. Rolling off low end, because we have another bunch of elements that take care of the low end here. Rolling bass, sub bass, plug bass, these guys are taking care of our low end, so we can focus with this one on the high end. Drum bus. Adding in more drive and crunch. This is something you might enter when you're mixing the track. You know, like, okay, it needs to pop a little bit more. Can I just like achieve that effect without like touching all these EQs? Then you can throw this on and bring up the dry wet. And this one is set here to 84. Behind that, we are again rolling off low frequencies that might have been introduced now by using this drive. OTT behind that, carving out even more high frequency information. Then compressing the signal for, you know, peaks and everything. And then sending that thing through a short reverb with a short decay time of like 541 milliseconds here, 33% applied. Yeah, this also like adds a little bit to the craziness of the sound and gives it a bit more surface to the tail of the sound in the mix. And then we sidechain the whole thing. So, you know, you have these two octaves playing here, you put the pitch bend on top, then you put the filter automation on top, and then you put in these flanger and chorus effects and detuning. Pitching, detuning, flanger, chorus, and this is really going to bring you very close to these types of sounds. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to set up this sound with Serum. If you want to learn more about these types of sound designs and programming of grooves, drums, and putting together these tracks, we have a complete Melodic Techno Start to Finish Academy with online course parts, sample packs, preset packs, and fully arranged tracks as Ableton project files that you can dissect and learn from and copy paste elements and use different MIDI and harmony information in your own track. So feel free to check out the links in the description. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this type of content, and I hope to see you in the next video.